sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the break. Don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Every responses. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Well, hello and a very good day to you. This is Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Ruairidh Barlow. Over the course of the next half an hour or so, we're going to be talking Friday night football. Really good soccer slate when it comes to the action in England. We've got a championship fixture to look forward to. We've also got a couple of games in Italy, 2 in France, and 1 in Spain as well. And because Rory is with us, we're going to take a look at the weekend card in La Liga as well. A double dose of Betting Weekly Live for you, Rory, after a profitable midweek, 2 winning plays from 3 official picks. So you're in the money this week. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Cutting it fine. You know how it is on a Friday, lead up to Christmas. Things are busy, Dan, but I'm glad to be back with yourself. And it's a good week for me in Spain and a good week in Spain in general for football. It's been fantastic entertainment.
Yeah, what's the general consensus with Copa del Rey? Because from a betting point of view, we sort of dismiss it a little bit. I know there's been a couple of league games as well. We dismiss it form-wise a little bit. Was there any sort of outstanding stories, any upsets, anything that, bettors maybe should be across?
Not so much from a betting angle, but there was a story of, for me, the year in Spain in the Copa del Rey, because Girona Champions League side got knocked out by Logroñés on penalties. Yeah, 10 minutes.
I saw this. Yeah.
So 10 minutes into extra time, their goalkeeper goes in with concussion, stretchered off. In goes 19-year-old Paul Arnau, who is the son of Francesc Arnau, who sadly passed away 3 years ago. But he's the former Barcelona goalkeeper. He's never been in goals before, has Paul Arnau.
So he's an outfield player.
He's a right back. He's 19 years old. So he goes in, saves a penalty, sees Logroñés through to the next round on penalties. It was unbelievable story, it has to be said, Dan. But yeah, from a betting perspective, it is one I would steer clear of for this exact reason, because Girona went out to Logroñés.
But didn't one of their penalties cross the line, but didn't cross the line?
Yes, so there was... There was a penalty that, based on physical and video evidence, did cross the line, but not according to the referee or the linesman, who was standing 3 feet away. So, no VAR in the Copa del Rey, which is another interesting aspect of it. It makes a little bit of a difference, especially in penalties, apparently.
Yeah, unbelievable. I did see that. And John is a legend, isn't he? Hello to Duncan, who's on. Lucky's with us as well. Villa fan, good evening and good afternoon, everyone. Rick Haley, good morning, everybody. Shakespeare, he's on nice and early. Don't know if you got any plays for the weekend, Shakespeare. Green Bay plus 3.5. Cash, Dan. Never be afraid to take the points in American football. It did indeed cash. Paul, hello to Paul. Good to have you on the show. Get your thoughts in the YouTube comments. Give us your plays when it comes to the Friday night football, and get your pens and paper ready, because Roy's going to be marking your card when it comes to the La Liga action this weekend. Paul says, Dan, is there an over and under on the number of drinks Sealy has had before he gets from the Betting Weekly party? And Jack says, greetings all, keeping the tequilas out of shot, Dan and Roy. We've not had tequilas. We've had some shots from the boys on the party, or already on the shots of the shots. These are the notable Wednesday winners and losers. Thursday winners and losers. And this was an interesting one, because Shakespeare was talking about the Packers at the Lions. There was a $60,000 play on the Lions -3, which was a push, of course. So that particular bettor got his money back. But Shakespeare was on +3.5, which cashed. Packers +4, which won $25,000 play, $24,000 play on the Rockets +3, which was a loser. At the Warriors, Purdue -2 on the handicap at Penn State was a loser, $22,000 worth of bets on that one. And also $17,000 Purdue Penn State under 147.5 live, just under even money, which was also a loser. I make it that Bet Rivers are around about 40k up on the big bets. So it's up to everybody out there to try and win the money back for all of the bettors collectively this weekend. Hopefully we can kick off the weekend with some good Friday night winners. And if you are a Bet Rivers account holder, you'll be able to watch all of the football, or nearly all of the football, the vast majority of it over the course of the weekend, including tonight, Celta against Mallorca, Burnley against Middlesbrough in the Championship. So sign up to Bet Rivers if you haven't already. Lille, Brest, Auxerre, PSG, Braga, Estoril in Portugal, of course, and also 6 League 2 matches, all streamed live, and lower down the leagues as well. There's so much live football on the app, on the website as well. It is well worth getting an account to make sure you can watch all of the soccer. What else have you got here? On our comments page. Player Cam says, good evening, guys. Jack says, already cashed the overs by the looks, Paul. Talking about the boost tonight. Charlie says, evening, guys. Auxerre plus 1.5, 10 to 11 for me tonight. I like that one, Charlie. It's one that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. Disky says, welcome all. Had to rush home from work just to watch you your show. And Rory, good to have you along, Disky. Now then, let's talk soccer. We are, first of all, just going to mention the Championship game. Now, I've enlisted the help of Jack Wright, of James Easton, and also Steve Wiss when it comes to some plays tonight. Obviously, we've got Rory for the Spanish soccer, but when it comes to the Championship, I text Jack, who's a bit under the weather, can't make the Christmas do, but he did suggest to me that the best play in the Burnley-Middlesbrough game is undoubtedly unders. The line has shifted a little bit, minus 130 for under 2.5 goals. Only 17% of Burnley games have gone over 2.5 this season. The market, you would have thought, has not really caught up there. Minus 130 implies something like 56.5%. Borough, 44% of their matches have gone over as well. So very much an unders feel about this. Middlesbrough have scored a lot of goals, but mainly in their last few matches. So it just skews their percentages a little bit. Burnley have only scored 23 this season in the Championship. That's the fewest in the top 6. Borough are the division's top scorers, but 13 in the last 3 away games after only 4 in their previous 5. And Ben Doak is a winger who's on loan from Liverpool. He's got 5 assists in his last 5 Championship games, 1 for Scotland as well, plus 650 to get an assist. I'm sure, Rory, you're across Ben Doak a little bit here. I mean, he's a young kid that I think he's only probably going to have 1 loan spell because Liverpool will be keen to get him back. And for Scotland in the recent round, the Nations League game, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah, he might be, in terms of just purely taking players on one-on-one, he might be the best player I've ever seen play for Scotland. So that tells you just how good he was for Scotland. He had Gvardiol going in and outside himself in that last international break, and Gvardiol, in theory, one of the best defenders in the world. So yeah, I don't envy Burnley's left back tonight because Doak, if he is on form, he can be worth 2 or 3 goals in a game at this point, especially kind of in that Championship level. Yeah,
plus 650. He's better than the Championship to get an assist tonight if you're playing that. We're going to play the unders goals. The under 2.5 goal market is hit in each of Burnley's last 12 Championship matches and win 1-0, 2-0, something like that. Halftime draw might be worth looking at as well. It's plus 1-1-2 to be a tie at halftime. Burnley are slow starters. They control games and they've only been leading at home twice so far this season. At the break, we have had a decent play on the over 1.5 goal market, incidentally. Most of the money has come on Burnley, 95% of the money, 78% of the tickets. And interestingly, 69% of the money on under, but 95% of the tickets on over. So the bigger bets are going on the over goals. Stuttgart against Berlin. This is a 9th versus 11th in the Bundesliga. Union Berlin are 4-1 outsiders here. Stuttgart are minus 139. Stuttgart are 27th in the Champions League table. They play Young Boys at home next midweek. It's a game that they have to win. This is a really difficult one to call. They've only won 2 of the last 7, including in the German Cup in midweek. They beat Jan Regensburg by 3-0. Regensburg, who are bottom of the 2nd tier in Germany, incidentally. But Union without a win in 6, 4 defeats and 2 draws. It's one that I would leave alone, I must admit. Union are very much an underside. Stuttgart are an overside. Tend to think that you get drawn down to the unders rather than get put up to the overs. But as you can see, it's pretty much pick 'em contest there. Minus 114 for unders and minus 109 for overs. We have had a near $500 play on Joscha Wagnerman for under 1.5 total shots at -112, which is a bit of a random one, but it's a significant bet in terms of this prop market. He's a right winger, sort of former right back, right wing back, plays a little bit further forward. He has managed to have 2 shots on target or more in his last 3. So that's a little bit of a chancy one for that particular Bet Rivers better. Money line, 94% of the money, 95% of the tickets on Union Berlin. Interesting that an upset is expected here, and both teams to score is hitting 8 of Stuttgart's last 9 Bundesliga matches when favourite. So that's the championship of the Bundesliga game tonight. I'm going to steer clear of the Stuttgart-Berlin game, but we're going to play unders, Burnley against Middlesbrough, courtesy of Jack. Gurney says he's no Davy Cooper. Yeah, Davy was a very special player. Jack says Burnley conceded 6 in 18 games. Truly incredible. What else have we got here? Rick says Mallorca 0-0 at halftime. Well, let's get to that game because we've got Rory with us, of course. And here, Celta against Mallorca, Rory. Celta Vigo -121, Mallorca +370. Overs and unders in interesting because unders is favourite by quite some way at -182 here. I mean, Celta Vigo have been good to watch, Rory, I would suggest, this season. They always seem to score. They've had some good performances against the better sides. What's your general thoughts on Celta Vigo Mallorca?
Yeah, if the listeners will excuse the crooning of those dogs next door to me for a moment, if they can let me get a word in edgeways. It's an interesting game, this, I think, because if you look at these two teams, it's 5th in the away table. That's Mallorca against 6th in the home table. The interesting thing for Mallorca, though, as well, is they've got 4 wins away from home and 3 defeats. So they don't tend to draw games away from home. That kind of stands out to me as well against a side that are strong at home in Celta. Celta, they're an interesting team because they play very good football, but they do have a tendency, if it goes wrong, it tends to go quite wrong for them. You saw that against Leganes. They got beat 3-0. They got beat 3-1 against Espanyol last time out in La Liga, but both of those were away from home. And I think Friday night at Balaidos is a windy, wet, cold ground. It's a bit of a miserable place to go, but it's quite fiery in terms of atmosphere as well. So I do give Celta the edge here. And if you look at the table as well, there's 6 points between them. Mallorca have played a game more. I think there's probably not that much between these two sides. We know Celta at home are stronger and away from home they struggle. Mallorca, obviously the island factor as well. I think that takes us back to our very earliest days together, Dan, talking about the Mallorca away factor.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I do favour Celta in this one. My pick in it, incidentally, is just the money line. Celta to win. It's pushed out to -121 there. It was -117 just an hour or two ago. So that tells you that it's come in a bit already. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to watch, actually. I'm probably going to tune into this.
So Celta Vigo against Mallorca. We're going to play Celta Vigo on the money line. That's Rory's first pick of the show. Rory's been in good form this midweek. As we mentioned, 2 winners from 3 plays for the midweek La Liga action. And BetRiver's got a special as well when it comes to the game tonight. Celta Vigo to score at least 2 first-half goals against Mallorca. Now, it's around about 6-1 plus 600, but those odds are going to be boosted as well. So head to the BetRiver site for the boosted price. Now, it's a big ask, but they have done it 3 times in 15 games. Crucially, they've done it twice in 8 home fixtures. So in terms of it's a value play, it's a small sample size, admittedly, but you can certainly make a case for it. We're going to play Rory's selection on the money line, -117 Celta. Let's hope they got off to a good start if you are playing that particular special. Yes, Rory.
If I can just come in as well, there's a lean that I do quite like. That's Iago Aspas score assist +155. You saw Lamine Yamal, another brilliant left-footed playmaker, on Tuesday night, instrumental in their 5-1 win. Iago Aspas is still the man that makes this Celta side tick. And I think between the lines is where this Mallorca side really struggled against Barcelona. And Iago Aspas is the man to make things happen. So Iago Aspas score assist +155. I think that's a good bet probably every week because it's probably not far off what he gets. And if you think that's over evens, obviously, I think if he hits that 2 out of 3 weeks, which is probably more likely than not against teams that are not in kind of the top 5 or 6, yeah, that's a good bet every week for me. So that's a lean for me as Iago Aspas to score assist +155 there.
Aspas is the player that you should be following in that game. Incidentally, most of the money has come for Celta Vigo. Most of the cash has come for over. Mallorca are an unders team, and they've won 3 of the last 4 La Liga matches as an underdog against Celta Vigo. Bear that in mind, but we're playing the favourite here. Both teams to score has hit in 7 of Celta Vigo's last 8 La Liga matches when they've been the home favourite. So that's the Spanish football for now. Roy's going to be back when we take a look at the weekend card. We've got games Saturday and Sunday. But just to rattle through some of the other Friday night games that we've got for you in France and in Italy. Now, I have enlisted the help of Stephen James when it comes to the action in France here. And for those that like a James Easton shot on target or goal scorer bet, well, James has kindly text me one. So stand by, because James's legion of fans will certainly want to know what this one is. It's what we get asked for every single time on the European show. First of all, Lille against Brest. Steve has suggested to me that Lille at minus 136 are a solid bet. They're unbeaten in 13, 7 wins, 6 draws. They did draw at Montpellier last time out. They are in Champions League action next midweek, as are Brest, incidentally. They have lost 3 of the last 4. So a big game in Europe for both of them next week. Both of them are just outside the top 8 in the Champions League standings. So be aware of that. 87% of the money and 86% of the tickets on Lille. When it comes to the overs and unders, 56% the money on under, but the smart money has gone on the over. Both teams to score has hit in 5 of Brest's last 6 Liga matches. The over 2.5 goals market has hit in 8 of Brest's last 9 Liga away games. So bear all those stats in mind. We're going for a Lille win on the money line at minus 136. When it comes to the Auxerre Paris Saint-Germain clash, and this is where James has given me a really interesting to score or assist play. Just to rattle through some stats for you, first of all, Paris Saint-Germain, obviously away from home here, are the favourites, minus 335. They're clear at the top of Ligue 1. Auxerre have had a good season, back up in the top flight. The 7-1 shots here. The over and under line is 3.5 goals, as you can see. But Paris Saint-Germain have got a massive game in Europe in midweek. They are 25th. I might bring Rory in on this as well. 25th in the Champions League table. Obviously, Luis Enrique is in charge there. They're outside of the qualification places. They play Salzburg away from home, who are 32nd in the Champions League standings next midweek. I mean, I don't know if Luis Enrique, Rory, is still covered by the Spanish press. Obviously, is a great former Spanish footballer and manager and coach and so on. I mean, I don't want to say that they're in trouble, but there might be, Paris Saint-Germain. And obviously, that's one of the reasons why I was brought in to do well in the Champions League, as all of the Paris Saint-Germain coaches are, and it never seems to work out for them. I mean, does it make a ripple in the Spanish papers that, well, he's not particularly well on the continental stage, at least, with Luis Enrique?
Oh, absolutely. The Spanish papers are all over it whenever Luis Enrique is struggling. There's a divide down a line that goes through about Zaragoza, which is where the Barcelona end stops and the Real Madrid end starts in terms of the press. And so yeah, there is very much a bit of schadenfreude with Luis Enrique and his struggles. And I think Luis Enrique, he's a very idiosyncratic manager. He likes things done his way or the highway. There's been stories this week of kind of basically a rebellion against him in the dressing room. He's denied that. He says he's not going to answer to lies. That was his kind of response in the press. But yeah, I think he's a good manager, but I think in recent years he's maybe gone a little bit too far his own way. And that's trying to explain what that means in terms of most managers are striking a balance between what they want and pragmatism and what they think they have. And I think in recent times, Luis Enrique's maybe gone a little bit too far towards what he wants, as opposed to kind of weighing up what's maybe best or most effective for his team. So yeah, it is an interesting one. You sort of have to back them to get the job done here in Liga, but yeah, in the Champions League, it'll be interesting. I think they will take it down to the last 2 games at the very least, when Manchester City, another team in bad form, will be on the horizon for them.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? They've not got a straightforward end to their Champions League campaign. The boys will be talking Champions League next week, incidentally. I mean, I think they'll beat Auxerre, but we had a selection from one of our YouTube commenters. Who was it? Was it Charlie, who says Auxerre plus 1.5, 10 to 11? That looks a fair bet to me. I can't argue with that at all. They've won 5 of the last 6 at home in Liga. They're having a decent season, and you'd like to think that Paris Saint-Germain, they may well rest one or two players. Their focus is going to be on Salzburg next week. But here's the kicker. Here's the key one for everybody who likes James's player picks. He has highlighted an Auxerre attacker to follow, Hamad Traoré, who's on loan from Bournemouth. Incidentally, played a bit in Italian football before going to England. Hasn't really settled there, but he's settled at Auxerre this season. He's plus 190 to score or assist. He's got 7 goal involvements in 11 games so far this season. He's having a really good campaign for Auxerre. If you like him for over half a shot on target, he's minus 155, so that's pretty short. He's had 11 shots on target in 11 games, so he averages 1, but obviously he's missed out in a few games. Anytime goal scorer is plus 290, so a little bit bigger, but you've got score and assist on your side. This is one from James, not from me. So James, who's been the king with these picks over the course of the last few years, he's about plus 22 points profit up for the season on the European show. And he's kindly given me that one. I don't have to pay for it or anything. Plus 190, score assist. That's Traoré for Auxerre against Paris Saint-Germain. Player Cam says PSG have kept only 1 clean sheet on the road in Liga, which was against Marseille. That's a good stat. Diego says Atalanta, Milan, both teams to score. Paris Saint-Germain, Auxerre, both teams to score. Could be some decent plays there from Diego, and over 2.5 goals in each match as well, or. So you could play both. You could put them together. So Diego, who's had some good handles on some good matches for us today, reckons that we're looking at goals for those games in Italy. Speaking of which, one thing we should mention is that we've had a $2,500 play on the Paris Saint-Germain double chance at minus 1,500. That potentially is buying money.
Okay.
That's the draw. That's the draw and the away win. But yeah, it's, if you like that sort of bet, it's up to you. £2,500, $2,500 is a significant one. Most of the money's on Paris Saint-Germain. Most of the tickets as well. We've had 59% of the money on the unders, 73% of the tickets on the overs. And Auxerre has won 4 of its last 5 Liga matches at home as the underdog. And both teams to score has hit in 5 of Paris Saint-Germain's last 6 league away games, as player Cam was sort of alluding to as well. Just on the Italian football tonight, before we get into the Spanish card with Rory, Atalanta, I think, are a really good bet on the money line here at plus 108. They've won their last 8 in all competitions. If you've bet them in every single game that they've played, bar the Super Cup, the European Super Cup at the start of the season, you're 24.5% return on investment, 10 wins from 14. Club record is 9 wins on the spin, incidentally. They can equal that tonight with a win against Milan, and they can go to the top of the table as well. They're around about 5-1 to win the Scudetto. Milan have won just 2 of their away matches in the league. And incidentally, this game brings together 4 Serie A players with the most goal involvements across all competitions in 2024. So it might be an overs play, as Diego was suggesting. De Catalara's got 30, Lookman 30, Rafa Leao 28, who's really found his form again recently, and Christian Pulisic 27 goal involvements over the course of the calendar year. And incidentally, we've got some specials from Bet Rivers as well. At least 3 goals scored in both Inter Parma and Milan Atalanta is plus 128, and Christian Pulisic to score or record an assist and Milan to win or draw plus 295. Pulisic's had a great season. He's got 14 goals or assists this season in all comps. He's just plus 180 to get a goal or an assist. But if you throw that in with Milan to avoid defeat, then you get that plus 295. And those prices on those specials are going to be boosted as well on the Bet Rivers site. So head to the app, head to the Bet Rivers site to get those boosted returns. When it comes to where the money's gone for these Italian games, most of the money is on Atalanta, 86% of the cash. Most of the money is on the overs as well, incidentally. Atalanta have won 8 on the spin in Serie A, and they've scored at least 2 goals in 8 consecutive Serie A matches. 1 or 2 sizable wagers as well on the Inter Parma game, which I'm not going to get involved in. Inter, of course, the Scudetto favourites. They're minus 560 to win this one. But we've had $500 on over 2.5 total corners in the game, and a similar bet on Inter under 8.5 total corners against Parma at San Siro. So that is the football over the course of tonight. Keep your picks coming in. Diogo says, I'm parlaying both teams to score at Atalanta, Paris Saint-Germain, and then Man City and Liverpool to win over the course of the weekend. So that's the parlay from Diego. Speaking of the weekend, let's get the Spanish slate up. Now, if you're following Rory this season when he's been on the show, he's showing plenty of profit. So we're going to rattle through the La Liga matches on Saturday first and then Sunday. We'll get Rory's thoughts as we go. We'll get some official plays as we go. We're going to start here, Rory, with Girona against Real Madrid. Real Madrid, the minus money favourites. Girona, as you were talking about, knocked out the Copa in midweek. Madrid not playing because they're involved in the Spanish Super Copa, which is in Saudi again, I presume. Rory, they are minus money favourites here, and some might make a case for that, but they did drop points in midweek. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. What do you make of Girona Real Madrid, first of all, because you have got an official play in this one?
Yeah, it's going to be, again, an interesting tie because we're looking at a Girona side that in general tries to take the game to other teams, and Real Madrid last season really just took Girona to the cleaners in a way that not many sides did, in a way that they did to a lot of other sides in terms of Barcelona. Even Atletico Madrid got thumping off Girona last season, but there's just too many things keep going wrong for Girona for me. They've had a lot of injuries this season. I think they're not dissimilar in level in terms of what they're doing as well to where they were 2 seasons ago, where they finished about 10th, 11th place. They were on the outsides of the European race at that point. They're on the outside of the European race this time as well, but they're just a little bit short of that kind of top team ability that they have now. We've seen that in the Champions League. And Real Madrid, they're not a good side right now, but they still have some very good players. And I think, again, if you kind of look through their season, Real Madrid have struggled. They haven't looked good, but they generally had enough to deal with the teams that are below that kind of top 5, 6, 7 level. I think Athletic Club were the perfect example of that, where you've got a wily manager, a strong, solid team. I don't even think Athletic were at their best in midweek, but Real Madrid just couldn't find a way through them for about 70, 80 minutes of that match, and they made one too many mistakes. And Girona, I think, will press them into mistakes, so I think you could see goals in this one in general. And I think Real Madrid, they'll just have too much. I think you'll see them break out. Girona are not a team that's going to sit deep and defend at any point in the match, really. And I think that's kind of what Real Madrid needs, is a little bit of space and someone that's going to go back and forth with them. And I think that's what Girona will give them.
So we're looking at goals. Are we looking at Real Madrid to win this one as well? Rory, how are you parlaying your bet here? Because effectively you've got same game parlay, haven't you, on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid, it's very difficult to find value on them in general. They were plus money midweek, but we did steer away from that, which was smart from us. I think we were both, we can pat ourselves on the back with that one. But Real Madrid to win plus over 2.5 goals is on the parlay. That's at plus 115 right now. And yeah, Girona, they had a good result against Villarreal last week out. They came back from 2-0 down to draw. But that was in the last minute with a beautiful goal, it has to be said. But yeah, I just see Real Madrid having too much. And Carlo Ancelotti, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but he came out and gave an absolute masterclass in his press conference today. He was so calm. He was humorous. He was his usual self in many ways, but he was very serious, saying, I read the criticism in the press, have directly at journalists saying, have you been one of the ones that's been having a go at me? What have you been saying about me? So yeah, Carlo Ancelotti was in his pure form today, and I think that bodes well for Real Madrid.
We like Real Madrid to win over 2.5 goals, as Rory says, around about plus 115. Diego says, I like both teams to score in Girona against Real Madrid as well. I know you've not got plays on Valencia, Rayo again, and Betis against Barcelona. I mean, are Valencia going to go down? Do we think they're hot? I mean, I can't believe that Baraja's still there. Is he still there? And Barcelona, are they going to slip over Betis? Just briefly on those two, Rory, any quick thoughts?
Barcelona Betis was one that I steer clear of just because of value. I think it's hard to know how many goals are going to be in this one because we don't quite know how Pellegrini is going to set up. He's been a little bit less or a little bit more direct and a little bit more kind of balanced in his setup. So goals is the obvious one you look at to get value out of Barcelona. That's why I steered clear of it. I do think Barcelona will probably have enough to win that game. Betis on a 3-game losing streak. So yeah, if you are going to go into that game, back Barcelona and find a way to get some value on it. Valencia Rayo, I do actually quite like. I did look at this one for a play. Rayo to draw or win on the double chances, minus 152. You can add stuff to that to get some more value on it. I think Rayo draw no bet at plus 155 is probably where I'd go for that one. Valencia are not in great form. Rayo, they're not in great form either, but if you look at all of their last kind of 5-6 games, they've actually played fine in all of those games, but they've just come a bit unstuck in terms of goal scoring. And Valencia are a side that can't score goals themselves. So two teams that face similar problems, and I think Rayo are just a little bit better right now. So even away from home, I like Rayo to pick up a result at some point there.
We have got an official play in the Las Palmas Valladolid game. Valladolid, of course, are bottom. Las Palmas are surprising everyone, continuing to surprise everyone. Got that massive win against Barcelona in the league last time out, and they did scrape through their Copa del Rey fixture in midweek as well. They're minus money favourites here, though. The market catches up quickly, but it's still a palatable price for you, Rory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Las Palmas, I don't really understand why they're even that short, it has to be said. And this is the week of money lines for me, I should say as well, because that Atalanta money line looks quite appealing to me. This one, I'm going Las Palmas to win. That's kind of my safer option in the sense that it's my official pick, so I'm going a little bit safer. But if you do want to boost this up a bit, over 1.5 goals for Las Palmas on the same game parlay with Las Palmas to win, that's plus 105. Las Palmas have just brimming with confidence right now. They beat Barcelona last time out in La Liga. I think it's 6 out of 8 games for Diego Martinez, the new manager, have been wins. The 2 losses, Atleti was one of them. Mallorca was a bit of a crazy game. You can kind of forgive them for that. And I think if they're going to win or lose this game against the Valladolid side that sacked their manager, have not appointed a new one yet. So they've been trying but haven't got one in. Valladolid, they've not kept a clean sheet in 10 games. Yeah, I just think this has to be a win for Las Palmas. Anything else would be a major shock for me, and I think Las Palmas will have too much for them.
Las Palmas on the money line. We are staying with the Diego Martinez train for this one. We've got a Sunday slate to look forward to as well with Rory. We've only got one official play out of these 4 games, and it's the one right at the bottom. Any thoughts on the other fixtures? I backed Atleti to win La Liga, Rory. Full disclosure here, they're on a brilliant run at the moment. They're minus 250 to beat Sevilla, who only drew last time out, of course, in the league. Osasuna, Alaves. Steve is quite sweet on Osasuna this weekend. Incidentally, Athletic Club against Villarreal. I mean, we've got some short price favourites, home favourites here with those 3 fixtures. Rattle off your brief thoughts on that top trio for us.
Yeah, Atleti have to be strong favourites. That run is very good, and again another Sevilla side that just can't score goals right now. So you're looking at Atleti. My one doubt about kind of combining that with the overs for a little bit of value is Sevilla probably not going to contribute to the score sheet. So do Atleti really kind of strain themselves? I mean, they're in very, very good form, but that Valladolid win last week, 5-0, that was against a very poor side. And they did struggle a little bit against Cacereño in the cup. So it shows that they're not necessarily free-flowing, I'd say, but they are in a good run of form. I expect them to win that game. Osasuna Alaves, again, another sacked manager for Alaves. So that's a tricky one to look at there because they've brought in Chacho Caudet. But I want to add a caveat to that because the manager who's outgoing, Luis Garcia Plaza, was absolutely beloved by Alaves. He did a great job there. I think a lot of fans and probably the players would have kept him around.
So was it a surprise that he went or not?
Yeah, there was nobody really saw that coming. I mean, they are struggling. They are only a point or 2 above the relegation zone, but that's where they are meant to be, essentially. He's meant to keep them up, and it's poor run of form, but I'm surprised he went, and I think there's a lot of love for him still there, so that affects your new manager bounce. So Osasuna, I'd make them favourites for that one, and Athletic Villarreal, stay well away from this game unless you have a strong feeling, because anything could happen here. This could be back and forth. It could be tight and cagey. It really depends on how those kind of first 20, 30 minutes go for me. So this is one that I'm seeing well clear of, but I will be watching because it's set up to be a fascinating game.
We have got an official play in the Leganes against La Real fixture where La Real are minus money favourites here at minus 105. They've had they got through to the knockout stages of the Champions League last season. They obviously lost 1 or 2 players. Not quite as impactful this year, mid-table at the moment, but you're taking them to win away, Rory.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have a toxic relationship with Real Sociedad who tend to knock a few people over and a few parlays over, it has to be said. But I am going to go and back them on the money line here again. Minus 105. It's actually gone out a bit from where it was earlier this afternoon. So, yeah, I do like Real Sociedad. I mean, it is a bit of a trap game in one sense, because if you look at it before Leganes lost to Real Madrid at home last time, they were 3 wins on the bounce at home. The game before that was a draw against Valencia. But my caveat to that and my reasoning for going with Real Sociedad is, you look at those sides: Sevilla, Celta, Valladolid, 3 teams that are liable to, if not beat themselves at times, certainly make it easier for the opposition. And I think Real Sociedad, they are on the up. They had a bit of a blow in the Basque derby against Athletic Club, but I mean, again, it's not no shame to lose 1-0 to Athletic Club away from home, as Real Madrid kind of found out this week. So I don't read too much into that. Back-to-back wins over Betis and Ajax have really set them on their way. So yeah, I like minus 105 for Real Sociedad, the money line. Again, this is, in general, looking at parlay for this entire weekend. There's a lot of money lines you can get involved with in Spain.
Yeah, quite a few short price favourites. We like La Real away from home, around about even money. We're going to get Rory's best bet in just a second before we wrap things up. I'm just going to remind you what the boys have given me tonight. Jack likes under 2.5 goals in the Burnley Borough game. All the stats suggesting that the Lancashire side, who are surely bound for the Premier League next season, will come good against Borough, around about minus 120, was it? I'm trying to find the price now. A little bit short, minus 130 for Jack. And Stephen James has have given us a couple of picks in Spain. In France. Steve likes Lille to beat Brest on the money line, around about minus 130, minus 135. And we've got a special from James on a goal scorer, Hamid Traore, plus 190 to score or assist. That's for Auxerre against Paris Saint-Germain. We've rattled through the cards in Spain, but we need a best bet from Rory of his 3 plays that he's given. Rory, 1 play for either tonight or the weekend. If your Christmas money depended on it, which fixture, which bet?
If it was my Christmas money, it has to go in Las Palmas to win at home against Valladolid. The minus 129, I think it was pushed out to there a little bit. Incidentally, I did just, if you want to hit the lottery for Christmas, I did just add up the parlay for all of those picks that I put in there. If it's just money line, so Real Madrid on the money line too,
yeah,
Las Palmas, Celta, and Real Sociedad, those 4 come back at plus 975. So that's quite appealing for me. I might have a look at that myself.
Absolutely. Love the parlay for the La Liga action over the course of this weekend. Rory, enjoyed your company as per usual. Have a good rest of the evening. I am going to join Nigel and Steve and Lewis and Simon and a few others as well. They've been in the pub from around about 1 o'clock today. So I've got no idea what sort of state that they're going to be in. We're down to have something to eat at 6, and then we're playing the Cube at around about 8:30 tonight. So I'm a little bit behind schedule, but I'll have to start just before I go out. So Nigel, keep the Stellas for me.
Surely a favourite for the Cube, given the circumstances.
I have to be. I've got to be. I'm massive favourite to win this one. Although James is only turning up for the fun and games. He's missing. So if I need to get paired with James here for the Cube.
That's a tactical play from James.
Then we're absolutely nailed on to win tonight. Rory, great stuff. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Live tonight. The show, of course, is back on Monday, but we've got the European show out and the Premier League show out as well. When it comes to all the action this weekend, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plenty of content each and every day from all of the App Because We Win crew. Rory, have a good night. Have a good weekend. We'll speak soon. That's your lot for today.